I'm working on the simple broken star today, and I'm going to be doing quite a few of the freehand techniques. We're going to start with the medallion. This square is on point, and I just wanted to draw this out a little bit so you could see what I'm going to be doing. I like to use just something to give me a guide. So in the middle of it, I'm going to make some marks on my quilt like that. This would be the middle, and here's my square on point. So I'll be starting in the middle like this, and I'm going to come out like this with a figure 8 that will be on the diagonal, and then I'll be coming out like this. Now this will all be continuous. Then I'll be coming straight down, and I'm going to make a teardrop at the end like that and put another teardrop inside of it. This is going to be like a peacock feather. And then I'm going to cuddle the top of that with a fern like this. So, and I like to get it in as much of an S as I can. Can you see how it's kind of got a curve one way and then a curve the other way? And then I come right back up on top of it like that and do the same thing on this side. And this just really adds a wonderful texture in here. And especially on this fabric that is a little bit marbled. This fabric is got a little dark and a little light in it. It's going to just add the texture that I want. So that's what I'm going to put inside. I like to draw out my design just a little bit and kind of give myself a little practice. Drawing is so important. I know that many folks think that they can't draw, but if I can draw, you can draw, because I'm not an artist either. Now I'm going to put my circle in here and just give myself those marks. I'm just using a little chalk pencil here, just so that that double figure 8 will be even in there. There we go. Doodling is so important for you to loosen up and to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. It also gives you so many ideas. That's the way your creativity comes. I'm going to hold on to these threads as I start so I don't have to do too many stitches in this area, because I'm going to cross through this area again. So I'm going to do my figure 8, and I just go over to my mark and over to my mark like that, and then this direction, and then I can break and stop and cut my thread right there. So we'll take off up at the top like this. There's our teardrop and a little teardrop inside of it. And I'll do this first one slow, and then I'll speed up on the others. So you can see how fast you can go doing this. You can fill in a whole area very, very quickly. And again, I'm using kind of a figure S is what I'm thinking of as I'm doing this. Cuddle that teardrop and back, cuddle and back, reaching out to the edge of the square because I want to fill in the whole area. And I want to keep it as even as I can so I have a really nice even texture through there. Now I'm going to switch to my manual, and I'm going to go a little faster so you can see in reality how fast you can really get this project finished. There we go. You can see it's kind of a motion with your machine. It just feels so good. You're just moving this machine. And that's why that drawing is so important. Use your whole body when you draw. Use your whole arm when you draw, not just your fingers. Get a large pad so that you can draw it out just like you would quilt it, because your brain doesn't know the difference between quilting and drawing. So it's also good practice. If you can draw it out, you've already practiced it once. You see how I'm just filling this in? Like that. And this side, we'll have this whole medallion finished so quickly. Now, I have already stabilized this quilt. I've already stitched in the ditch around all of these squares, so they are stable. So when I put this design in it, it's not going to change the relationship of anything around the quilt. I can go anywhere on the quilt and do my designs without worrying about affecting the other areas, or because when you quilt, the area that you quilt is going to shrink a little bit because it draws in. There we go. There is our medallion. That was very fast. You can see if I have 4 of those to do, they're going to just pop on that quilt really fast. Now, I've also left an area here of the actual star that is kind of in a diamond shape. And because these are all different fabrics, I knew that I needed to use a texture in there that would show when I hang the quilt up or it's on a bed. I want that texture to show. I really want to draw this out for you and show you what I'm going to do, because it's really important to see how this texture is going to go in this area. Let's say you have an area like this, which is similar to what I've got here. I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to start with a U. It's really a U shape. And if you don't keep it in that U shape, if you don't think U, then it starts getting out very straight. You can see I'm going to follow the side, follow the side, follow the side, like this until I get into the middle, and then I'm going to do a pinwheel like this, reverse, and come back and really tuck it in on the sides again. You can see if I get straight out here, then it's not going to look the same as it does over here. And we want to keep that curve look in this area because we have a straight seams around it. And so that is a little bit of a contrast there. So here we go. U, like this. Follow the side, keeping it in the U. Nice and curvy. And now it's time to do the pinwheel. And I just use my body with the machine, in and out. You can see my whole body goes with this. That keeps it nice and smooth so it doesn't look so amateurish. Because if you try too hard on this, you will really have shaky quilting. You see the texture that has put into that block. Now we have one more area over here that I'm going to put another medallion in, and I just eyeball it here. You could certainly measure. I have nothing against tape measures, but I really use my eyes for a lot of this. So I'm going to start right in the middle of that section, and I'll do this one a little slower. Here we go. So I made a teardrop shape. Now I'm going to put feathers inside of that teardrop shape, like this. And they're just kind of that teardrop too. So they round and follow, round and follow. At the top I come over, and then I'm going to follow the top of the first teardrop around, and I'll just have those little kissing feathers. They just touch there. And then back. So I'm putting a feather in a feather here to start with. And then I'm going to come down and just put some streamers, sort of the fern look. I'm continuing that fern look from the medallion. I want to keep that same theme going, but I did add a little bit different. You know, with the feather and the feather, that's different than what I have been doing. Now I'm going to come out very curvy like this, and I'm going to put a leaf, which is just a point and another point. It's almost like 2 half circles, and then I put a stem in it. Now I need to reach out, clear over to the edge to make sure that I fill in all of this area with quilting. Okay, nice and curvy. Again, it's a continuation of that S look. There we go, and back. And that gives me just enough room as I come clear back over here to put one more leaf right in that area. And then I will come over following the stem that I came out with originally, following that about a 1/4 of an inch away, and another leaf at the end like that. And now I need to reach clear over to here and put another leaf there. I love these leafy looks, and they're a little bit more generic than a feather, I think, and so they go so well on many quilts. And it's a little different because you see so many feathers now, but not as many leaves. And of course, you can stylize your leaves too. You can just gather leaves in the yard, you know. Every area has different kinds of leaves, and you can go out and look at those and gather them in and then practice drawing them. Now around this, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a little curl and then back and a little curl and then back like that. Now I'm going to put this in manual. I was in regulated stitch. Now I'm going to put it in manual, and it's going to go a little faster here so you can see how fast you can sew this medallion here in the corner. Just reach out here for my leaves. There we go. When you're in the manual mode, you control your own stitch length. So depending on how fast or slow I sew, if I sew really fast, I'll get long stitches, so I need to keep my quilting nice and even as I can, so I don't go too fast or too slow in different areas. But it's kind of fun to be able to control that yourself as well. So I use the regulated and I use the manual. I use everything available to me, just like you do. We should use every tool that we can to help us in our quilting. So that completed our border area. We still have outer borders to do, and we will be working on those outer borders in further segments, so make sure you watch.